With just over 2 months until President-elect Donald Trump takes office, there are some questions about what happens to the nation's education system. According to a recent Pew Research Center survey, Americans are split on their opinions of the education department. Take a look at your screen. 44% have favorable views of the agency, which was created under President Jimmy Carter in 1979. 45% say they see it as unfavorable. Trump expressed frustration with the department several times while on the campaign trail.
President Biden is not allowed to wipe out hundreds of billions and perhaps trillions of dollars in student loan debt, which would have been very unfair.
We will get critical race theory and transgender insanity the hell out of our schools.
We will ultimately eliminate the federal Department of Education and send education back to Wisconsin and back to the states.
Laura Meckler joins us now to explain the effects of those proposals. She's a national education writer for The Washington Post. Thank you so much for being here, Laura. When Trump says bring it back to the states, what does that mean?
Well, it's a little confusing because the states and, of course, local school boards already control education. So it's not exactly clear what he's talking about. But I guess the way it's been interpreted is potentially getting rid of the Department of Education or severely slashing its budget.
What does the Education Department do? What would a complete overhaul or elimination look like?
So it does a few things. It administers the federal student loan program. That's probably the biggest thing it does. And as part of that, it sets some rules of the road for colleges. That's a major part of its mission. On the K-12 side, it also enforces civil rights laws. I should say that goes for colleges as well. It's against the law if you receive federal money to discriminate against students or others on the basis of race or sex or some other factors as well, and it enforces those laws. It also provides a lot of money for K-12 schools through the Title I program, which aids high poverty schools, and through a program for students with disabilities.
So let's talk about college student loan forgiveness. This was pivotal during the Biden administration. What would cutting the Education Department mean for student borrowers?
Just a couple things. I mean, in terms of the Biden debt forgiveness program, I think regardless of whether there is an education department or not an education department, those programs are going to go away. Many of them have already been challenged in court, and it's clear that President Trump does not support them. So he can keep the education department and get rid of the debt forgiveness. Now, if the education department itself were to be closed, which I should say I don't think is very likely because it would require 60 votes in the Senate due to filibuster rules, but let's just say it did go away. I think the vision is that those duties would be transferred to another part of government, perhaps the Treasury Department, for instance, or a quasi-governmental organization. It doesn't mean that there wouldn't be any more student loans available. So a lot of what would happen in the vision of closing the Education Department is essentially farming out its responsibilities to other parts of government. But I just think it's also important to remember that you can make big changes in federal education policy even with a department in hand. In fact, arguably, you can make bigger changes if you keep the department.
So we've talked about the likelihood, what could happen, what it could look like. What are you hearing in your reporting about reaction? I mean, we sort of mentioned the breakdown, according to Pew, of how people view the Department of Education. What are you hearing about the likelihood or impending potential overhaul?
Yeah, I mean, it's in that underneath those Pew numbers, in fact, you see that Republicans are far more likely to express a negative view of the Education Department than Democrats are. That's true for other federal agencies as well. But there definitely is a partisan split here. In fact, Republicans off and on have been talking about getting rid of the Education Department for years, basically since it was created back to Ronald Reagan. What I'm hearing from folks, both Republicans and Democrats, is that this is not going to happen because of the high hurdle that I mentioned. It's not even clear to me that all Republicans would be on board with this. And there's a definite strain within the conservative movement, people who really don't want to see the Education Department closed per se, but would like to see them use the Department of Education to press a conservative culture war agenda. So, for instance, just as the Biden administration has told schools, hey, you have to respect the rights of transgender students or you're out of compliance with federal law, the Trump administration could do the opposite. It could say, if you offer certain protections to, say, transgender students, let's say you let them use bathrooms or locker rooms or compete on sports teams, then now you're out of compliance with federal law. essentially using the same tools, but in the opposite direction. So I'm hearing that from conservatives as well. But yes, there is a lot. I think the idea of closing the department is something that really just hits people. A lot of people think it would be an extreme step. So I think it would probably be fairly unpopular, broadly speaking.
Laura Meckler, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.